Dr. Henry Wampa, who is the governor of the Bank of Ghana, has been speaking on a number of subjects. He says proceeds from the recent auctioning of the country's third Eurobond, cocoa syndicated loan, as well as ongoing IMF talks with government, will remain crucial to ensuring that there's a greater prospect for the economy. Because already we're being told that the city has stabilized or is stabilizing. And you work with the foreign currencies a lot, so you know what the situation is. We should say that that's also very good for the economy, wouldn't you say?
You see, my problem with this particular government is the inconsistencies that they come up with. This will give us a temporary relief, you understand, because there's an inflow of foreign currency. If you take the Eurobond and then you take the cocoa bond syndicated loan. But this is the same government that has been going on about the fact that the reasons why we are where we are today is because of the structure of the economy. And are you telling me that the structure of the economy has changed in the last
and it's been addressed?
It has been addressed? Of course not. Now, the reasons why we are where we are today, and I think I've made this point before, is that as of today, in terms of our debt to GDP ratio is extremely high. We are at an absolute amount of almost $53.6 billion. We are paying an annual interest rate over $3 billion. You understand? And this is based on the fact that we have a weak currency. So what really happens is that it's basic, simple economics, right? What really happens
is... It's not as simple as you make it seem.
No, is that we are using a lot more of our cedis, right, to buy USD to pay off our interest. Isn't it? That's what it is.
That's even one side, before we tend to look at the structure
of the economy and all that. So for me, for someone as experienced as Dr. Wampa, I would be expecting that they'll be preferring a more robust plan. This is the short-term, medium-term, long-term policies that we are trying to put in place to forestall the current economic problems. Because I can bet you that come middle of October, November, towards Christmas, you would have some kind of depreciation of the cedi again, because we would need more dollars to import the almost sometimes unnecessary...
I mean, you said nothing, that's speculative.
No, unnecessary things that...
Very much speculative.
It's not speculative, that's the truth. And if you look at the pattern of even the depreciation of our cedi, in this particular year, it's been quite different. Because normally what happens is that it's towards the end of the year that the cedi depreciates really high. So, for me, the governor should be preferring solutions and not be giving us temporary reliefs. Because what it is that after 6 months, if the structure of the economy, like they say all the time, has not been sorted out, and it will not. You don't change the structure of an economy within 6 months. And we are still paying the same interest rates that we are paying on the already large loans that we've contracted. Then basically what it is that we'll come back to the same issues. So we need real solutions to be able to put our economy in a place. And then we're talking about energy right now. So does it mean that probably some of these monies that we are getting should be invested in our energy sector to make sure that the factories and industries that are shutting down would come back upstream so that we'll be able to produce goods in Ghana and then sort of try to make up with our balance of payment deficits.
In many circles of Hajinapo, they'll say trying to give an assurance or reassure the citizenry is good, but also trying to give an indication of where the economy needs to go is a lot more a better outlook than all that we've been doing. The issue of the structure of the economy, which needs some level of augmenting, some kind of reforms, etc. Would you say government has pinpointedly give you any headway, so to speak?
Well, I think first of all,
I mean, beyond the subject of there's a sugar factory
yes,
here,
yeah.
There's something that is being done, and all that.
I think the simple answer is no, and it's been like that since I think after Nkrumah. And why am I saying this? But before I even get to the bigger picture, let me just talk briefly about this Dr. Wampa's issue and stuff like that. I'm not into economics, and I usually don't like talking about economics because I do not have the expertise and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you agree with me that starting from somewhere January till I think somewhere in June, the CD to the other foreign currencies were so bad. The rate of depreciation was not something that you could even quantify by what was put at the interbank market. But when you go to the forex,
up to
you
40,
know very well. Yes, you know
depreciation.
very well that look, things the dollar, especially the dollar to the CD, was just moving at a faster rate. But for the past weeks, I can attest to it myself. That look,
You've been changing the dollar.
not been changing. I changed.
Only change. No, you've
To
been
go and pay
changing.
school fees though.
I thought you've been changing.
Don't be diabolical. But you see, Roland, you asked a question that has the structure of the economy. Do I get an indication?
Yes.
And I said no. Why am I saying this? Since independence.
No, I do understand that.
Yes.
There's a subject of what our experiences have been from independence.
Yes.
From now that we now have come to the realization
Yes.
that really we need to do something
Yes.
before Adam and Eve come to catch up on us.
Yeah. And that is what.
Do you think, with all the things that have been said, the solutions have been preferred by the state or government? And so today, as an intellectual and as somebody who is an observer, you can today pinpoint and say these are the things that government has said, or perhaps the Minister of Finance, Minister of Trade, etc. has said. That gives an indication that this is expected to change in the next 2 years, 3 years, etc.
I mean, let's be fair.
Beyond the piecemeal things about sugar factories and all that. Because we keep hearing all that very often.
you are looking at a program or policy that is so audacious that can shape our
not audacious, but
something
that's
innovative.
Basic.
It's something innovative. Because the reason why I'm saying is, look, we are in the 21st century. Global economy, where our economy is tied to that of US and stuff like that. I would have been expecting that, look, we have been talking about changing our exports of raw materials into something that is finished and stuff. But I would have expected that we should, even once we do that, we should look at something unique and something that can be ascribed to Ghana as a country. And I've always said, and I speak from my point as an educationist, I said, why can't Ghana become a hub of intellectualism, an educational hub, where Ghana can make so much money from what? From foreign students.
just training.
Training. And I'll give you a typical example. You know the state of Massachusetts. When Massachusetts was joining the
Is that where they have the MIT?
That's where they have Harvard. I was going there. We have President John Mahama is going to Harvard to deliver a speech. He's going to Brandeis University. We have MIT. We have Boston. It is the hub of intellectualism. And if you know the amount of money that they make from it, any Ghanaian who goes to Harvard positions himself as somebody who is very intellectual. And you know what? It took the innovation of somebody. John Quincy Adams. John Quincy Adams, when they were United States was being carved, he knew that, look, the capital was not coming to Boston. It was going to Washington, D.C. And they did not have anything. But he said, look, we are going to make it the hub of what? Higher education. And today it is. You can talk of so many former presidents who went to school in what? In Boston or Massachusetts.
So you're talking about you need somebody who can take the bull by
That
the
is
horn.
it. Ghana, as we speak today, is well positioned when it comes to peace.
Especially in
You
the
talk
West
of,
African
that is it.
countries,
Stability. Why can't we revolutionize our educational system such that, look, we say that even if you are going to a teacher training college or you are doing whatever it is, French should be an aspect of it. We are looking at not the number of universities that we have, but the quality of universities. We are saying that, look, at the end of the day, we are going to allow what? The spring up of private university, but government will consciously invest. Brandeis is a private university, Roland. Brandeis is a private university. Government will consciously invest in some of these private universities so that it becomes an attraction. But unfortunately, we seem to be interested in this. But I mean, it's good if we have a sugar factory that will employ people, if we have a starch factory and all those things. But I think we need to move beyond just pumping money in. We need to cut down on our imports. Everything. Just do a random survey of what is going. Okay, well, myself and my brother are wearing Africa.
But he said that we need to cut down on the imports. But it's also because it's the realization that this is realistically what we need to do. How are we taking the steps to give us the indication? I mean, this is what we're going to achieve.
No, you see, you need government to become the catalyst for change. And government cannot absolve itself from that particular responsibility because you have to show direction and leadership. Now, you find that if you go to certain parts of this country, for instance, where agriculture is the mainstay of our economy, right? And we even concentrate on the agro industry, whereby we would process the stuff that we produce into finished and then semi-finished products, even internally, right? Nowadays, people are drinking pineapple juice, mango juice, and all sorts of things. But consistently, if we have a policy or programs across various,
as they have in India,
yes, and all that, whereby if I grow my pineapple at in Sawam, there's a factory there, right? There's a ready market for it. There are schools over there, secondary schools, whatever. We have ready market even internally for it. Because if you go onto our markets, what do we see? We see orange juice, pineapple juice, packaged in Italy,
China,
Turkey, and everything on our shelves. And guess what happens in this country, whereby half or even more than that of our produce actually gets rotten at the farmsteads. So we need to have a plan, and you need that direction. And I think that we've been talking about these things. We've been talking about this thing.
It's almost becoming a rhetoric.
A rhetoric, right? And somebody has to do something about
the leadership.
You understand? Because the private individual, the farmer, the subsistence farmer, does not have the resources, does not have the capacity, and all that it takes to be able to translate or transform his small farmstead into an agro industry. But you need direction from government.
Today we have a packed program and a lineup of activities on the show, so we'll have to end our discussion. Very unusual for us. And today we've been having Eric Chum. He's a member of the MPP. He's the party's vice chairman for the Chobo constituency. Thanks for joining me, Eric. And again,
where is Chobo?
It used to be Chobo Amasama.
In that area. Today's your birthday. We say happy birthday to you. Wish you well, and in all the days that you have ahead of you, may God also grant you life. And an educationist, a lecturer, University of Education Winneba, Dr. Ahmed Jinapo. The name sounds familiar, doesn't it? He's a regular guest here as well. And say thank you very much.
And a friend to Rula.
Yes, of course. and my good friend. And my good friend as well.
Very good friend.
Yeah. And so